Mr. Scheck, correct? All right. People represented by Mr. Goldberg and Mr. Darden. Jury is not present. Counselors, anything we need to take up before we invite the jurors to rejoin us? My recollection is that we had discussed some issues regarding videotapes. Are we prepared to go forward?
Your Honor, my understandings of the court's orders last night were that we were to be providing copies of the videotapes that counsel wanted to show today so that we could review them over the evening. And Mr. Scheck did say he was going to get copies for me, but I didn't receive any. I was here until about 8:30 or 9 last night, so we are not ready.
Your Honor, before we left, we gave Mr. Goldberg an opportunity. I didn't know that he was expecting copies that evening. And in fact, due to certain difficulties, we have not been able to make a copy of the last tape that we received in the afternoon. I mean, if he wants to, I don't know what to say. I mean, we've shown him the tapes. If the court wants to look at them, basically.
Well, as I recall, as we ended the court day, I was advised that the prosecution withdrew their objection.
That's right. That was our understanding.
Mr. Cochran?
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, the only part that we waived an objection to was the videotape of the in-court testimony of Mr. Fung.
Let me have the transcript of yesterday's proceeding. My recollection of what I heard is that we withdraw our objection to the videotapes, plural, is what I thought I heard. All right.
Mentioned a couple of times, but I don't know.
To 22-508 of the transcript. Ms. Clark, Your Honor, so that the court is aware, we have withdrawn our objection to the showing the tape, the direct testimony of the witness, so that we should recommence with that. So that was a single tape. All right, the court stands corrected. All right, Mr. Goldberg, what other clip of the tape do you need to review? prior to restarting with Mr. Fung?
Well, there were two clips of tapes.
Right. Mr. Scheck, would you help me on this? First clip showed Mr. Fung with paper bags and a catalog case.
I have all the tapes and show them to Mr. Goldberg. This is what we intend to show. There's a shot of Mr. Fung.
Mr. Scheck.
There is a shot of Mr. Fung and Miss Mazzola exiting Rockingham. Mr. Fung carrying a black bag, a black valise, I think the
Catalog case.
catalog case.
Litigation case.
And some brown paper bags. And Miss Mazzola has what may be a posse box or a clipboard and a bottle of water, it appears to me. And they go into the truck, and there's sound that I think we showed the court yesterday, where Mr. Fung says something to the effect of...
Right, is that the first tape?
That's the first tape.
With the testimony?
I'm sorry? No, that doesn't have the testimony. That is just a clip. That's one view of it. I showed Mr. Goldberg last night a second tape that we got just as late in the afternoon that has additional footage of that, where we see from another camera angle, Mr. Fung and Miss Mazzola then leaving from the truck and walking back into Rockingham, picking up two little yellow carts from the driveway and heading back in. And I think when you see both tapes, you'll see that there was a camera person there from Channel 9 and a camera person there from Inside Edition. And in this second shot, the Inside Edition camera person actually gets a picture of a Channel 9 videotape person. So you can see where both shots are coming from. Then we have another set of tapes showing Mr. Fung and Miss Mazzola leaving Rockingham a second time. This time we see Mr. Fung and his hands, and we see Miss Mazzola.
So we have not seen this videotape yet?
We did. We saw the second one. We saw one clip of the second one, I believe. And I have one clip of that I've shown the prosecution, and then I have a second clip of that that is more complete in that there's a second shot of them walking further towards the truck. In addition, we showed him a complete videotape that includes footage in between that we received yesterday afternoon. Now, if the court wants, I can show you all the different clips in the order that I want to show them to the witnesses, and then we'll just...
Have you displayed this to the prosecution in the manner that you intend on displaying it to the jury?
I've displayed all the tapes. I'm not sure that I've displayed them in the order, but I could do that if he wants.
All right. Mr. Goldberg, your request at this point is for some additional time to review these videotapes?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much additional time do you think you need?
I don't know how long exactly these videotapes are, the totality of the tapes that Mr. Scheck just mentioned. I'd imagine it probably wouldn't take that long once I have a copy, and I can go up to my office and take a look at them.
Well, we have the video equipment here. You can look at it here rather than hazard the elevators in the building.
Well, that may be true, Your Honor, but as the court knows, many of these videotape clips that counsel has presented present images that are very fleeting, and the defense is only concentrating on one or two frames that are very easily missed. So it is useful for our purposes, in order to be prepared to deal with these issues, to be able to carefully look at them, and that's why we request a copy.
Well, Mr. Goldberg, I tell you what, let's do this. Mr. Scheck has offered to display to you and to the court those videotape portions that he intends on showing to the witness and to the jury. So let's see what he intends on showing and the order in which he intends on showing, and you tell me how much additional time you're going to need. All right, Mr. Harris, let's see the tape. This is all at Rockingham? Mr. Scheck? This is all at Rockingham? All right.
We played this sound yesterday. That's in fact all we have from that tape.
All right.
Should we mark these? Do you want these marked now, Your Honor?
All right. This should be defense 1101.
The one we just showed. Your Honor, before we start this one, it's up to Mr. Goldberg. We have an option here. This tape shows a number of different events. We intend to show to the witness the first segment that is a more complete view of this one. But if the prosecution wants to see what is in between from beginning to end,
How long is the tape?
I think it's about 5 minutes.
Play it. All right, we'll mark the second tape 1102.
You want to hear it? Go ahead. Hear the sound. It's my belief that's the cameraman that shot the first one. Now, at this point, that was all I was intending to show, but... Yeah, do you-
All right, let's see
Want to
the
rest of it?
remainder of the tape.
We were intending to show that. what's on this tape. This one we have marked, Your Honor, 1102.
Second tape is 1102.
Now, yes, we marked this 1103.
Whose job? You know,
We don't need that.
No, I wasn't looking.
This is 1103.
Yes. There's another segment of 1103 that I'd like to show previously, but I'd have to cue it up with Mr. Harris if the court would give us permission. Second section that we want to show and call the court's attention that it's a shot from another angle of Detective Van Adder getting out of his car, but now in this sequence you can see what he has in his hands, whereas in the other sequence his hands were cut off from view. Okay. Yeah, you can see the rest of it, but it's just another short shot of the first one.
All right, let's
See you
see
in
it. Why don't you roll it back just some? Mr. Harris, can you roll it back? All right.
Yes or no? Um, 1103. I think there's one more view that I've discovered that, I don't know if I'll show it or not, but I want to give the prosecution all the tape I have viewing this, and if they have some more, if the news media has some more, I'd love to see it.
All right, Mr. Harris, you going to cue that up for us?
Because this is a,
Still 11:03.
that's 11:04.
All right.
As you see, it has a more complete shot of them initially leaving, and then this just goes on to show something else that is in another sequence. I think they've seen this tape before from other sources.
Can we just go back,
Sure.
about 15 seconds?
Mr. Harris?
We get a freeze frame when it's into the detective scenes.
That's, prosecution's free to see this entire tape, but I think that these are the only relevant sections.
All right. 11:04, the last tape.
This was 11:04, we just saw it.
That's correct. All right, Mr. Goldberg?
Yes, Your Honor, there are some things in the videotape that are of interest to us in reviewing them that we'll take some time to look at more closely. And I would like the opportunity to do that. I would like the opportunity to make copies of these tapes, and the council does not have copies to provide us with.
How much time do you need?
It'll make it faster. I'll give them our copies. They go look at them as long as they want, maybe in chambers, videotape machine, anywhere. They're not going to go away.
We also like to have copies of our own, Your Honor. We can make copies from the defense copies.
No, I understand. I understand that you would like to have your own copies, but the issue that I would like to resolve is the amount of time that you need to view this so that you can be prepared to redirect or whatever as far as Mr. Fung is concerned. I would like to proceed with the jury this morning.
I know Your Honor would like to do that. I can understand that.
So what I would prefer we do is that Mr. Harris remain to assist you with the video equipment. You sit here with Mr. Darden or Mr. Harmon or Mr. Clark or Mr. Fairlove, whoever it is you need, Ms. Martinez. Look at it as many times as you need to here, and let's get the show on the road.
Your Honor, it's really not a very comfortable environment for us to take a look at these things. It doesn't give us the
I'm not
opportunity
interested in
to confer.
comfort, Mr. Goldberg.
It doesn't give us the opportunity to confer, to discuss it, to take a good look at certain frames, because there are at least 2 or 3 frames, specific frames of interest here in these tapes. And Your Honor, the argument that I made last night was that we feel that they have a discovery obligation when they reasonably intend to use these tapes to provide them to us. We're not saying that the court should preclude it. We're not asking the court.
No, I'm giving you the opportunity to look at it, to review it as many times as you want. I want you to do it here. I don't want to waste time running up and down the elevators and making copies and everything else.
We have more.
Sure.
Would the court give us 30 minutes to be able to look at the tapes?
I'll give
and
you
I'll
30 minutes, and I'll give you 30 minutes in my chambers with my VCRs and my TV, however you want to do it. You can do it with this equipment here, high-resolution monitor here, or you can do it in my chambers. I don't care, but let's just do it. The tapes are here, let's do it.
And when will the prosecution be able to get a copy of this tape, Your Honor?
Probably as soon as it's available, as soon as we take a break for lunch, I assume. Most of the duplicators, videotape duplicators that I'm familiar with are real-time rather than high speed. All right, Mr. Fairtlow agrees. All right, we'll stand in recess for half an hour.
One request. I think it's clear, but plainly we're at a stage of impeachment, and so I would only ask that they be entitled to view it, but they not discuss with the witness till he's cross-examined.
That was the order that we entered earlier. All right, thank you, counsel. Is not present. Mr. Goldberg, have you had the opportunity to review the various videotapes?
Yes, Your Honor, and I would thank the court for giving us that opportunity. I apologize that it took an attorney 30 minutes.
All right, are we ready to proceed?
We would like to argue about the admissibility of the tapes.
All right. For purpose. All right, Mr. Goldberg.
Your Honor, last evening when I had an opportunity to look at the tapes briefly, we objected on the grounds of relevance. It appears to me that the tapes, in terms of the events that they portray, are not material in the sense of not going to any contested issue. In this case, if you simply look at the events portrayed thereon, they're not inconsistent in any way with Mr. Fung's testimony. We made a similar argument, or I think that identical argument, in fact, last night. Mr. Fung testified that he took several items out to the truck. He said that the blood could have been packaged in a number of different ways, including in a brown paper bag, or in, I think what he said was his posse box, and then he had a third way, and he wasn't really sure. So there's nothing in terms of the tape itself that is material that contradicts him. Upon very careful review of the tapes, it's apparent to us that what the defense wants to try to do is not to introduce the tapes for the materiality of the events that are portrayed, but rather for the time sequence. And that is where we have a tremendous difficulty with these tapes, Your Honor, particularly on 1101 and 1103, which I'd like the court, if the court would be willing to do so, to take another look at with several things in mind. As to 1101, what you will see on that tape is that first Mr. Fung comes out with the various bags, the brown paper bags, and the large black type kit, and Ms. Mazzolo is handling the same type of item. The next item is that there is a distinct cut and break in that tape, and then Mr. Van Adder arrives in his vehicle. And then the third thing that happens is there is a showing of Andrea Mazzola and Mr. Fung, this is a third cut, coming out of the location, and Andrea Mazzola is handling what appears to be a garbage bag with some sort of an item or items in it. Perhaps that we could look at that, Your Honor, at this point.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may, just to save some time, we only are offering the first part of it. If Mr. Goldberg is going to argue now that we're not offering Mr. Van Adder getting out of his car, frankly, we would readily concede that that's a cut. And in terms of the way I have reconstructed events and what I've put to the witness is that Mr. Van Adder is arriving after. In other words, that shot is out of order, if that's the problem. But I just want to note for the record that in terms of what we're offering from that tape, we're not offering
Van Adder.
Van Adder.
All right.
Okay, and the third item, what that tape showed is it shows Mr. Fung with all the bags, it shows Phil Van Adder arriving, but it does not show the sequence of Andrea Mazzola coming out afterwards. If the court then compares that to tape number 1103, 1103 shows Mr. Van Adder arriving first, and then it shows Mr. Fung walking out with all of the items in the brown paper bags and the large boxes. And then the third item that shows is the scene of Andrea Mazzola coming out with the plastic bag. Now, if counsel is not offering 1101 for any purpose other than to show Mr. Fung carrying out all the bags in it, does not have any relevance at all. It seemed to me that what they are trying to do is get a sequence or an order. And we have two different tapes, 1101 and 1103, that depict an entirely different sequence. And how are we supposed to know which order those occurred in? I believe that that is the gravamen of the reason that they are introducing these tapes. And if that is true, it is extremely misleading to the witness and to the jury for the defense to be able to make assumptions as to when these events occurred and to present them whatever order they feel benefits their side, particularly when we have two different tapes that are cut in a very different sequence. I'd also point out, Your Honor, that it seems to be entirely without foundation if they are intending to ask Mr. Fung about the sequence in the tape number 1103 showing Mr. Van Adder arriving, to ask him about something that he would not have seen, or that there's no foundation that he saw. So we are objecting, Your Honor, on the grounds of relevance, materiality. We are also objecting under 352 that this is extremely misleading, that this is prejudicial, that the jury should not see something where the issue is the order of events when we do not know what the order is, cannot determine what the order is, and we have two different tapes that have been cut in two different sequences. And it also has the danger of misleading this witness because he doesn't know and hasn't seen the tapes and doesn't know what order they were cut in.
How about 1102 and 1104?
Well, as to 1102, what 1102 shows is simply Andrea Mazzola coming out and Dennis Fung coming out at some point with a plastic bag. Again, an event which in and of itself has no materiality. I don't know whether the defense is offering that for some sequencing purpose. If they are, then we'd have the same objection that we don't know what the sequence of these three events are. 1104 contains shots of Detective Lang holding what appears to be a search warrant in the area immediately before the entry to the defendant's house where stains, in the proximate area where stains 7 and 8 were found on the brick portion of the entry area. And again, it's not material. There's no showing that Mr. Fung was there at that time or saw that. But it appears, Your Honor, that what the defense is trying to do is there are essentially three things that are going on when you boil these tapes down. Number one, at some point, whenever it is, Detective Van Adder arrives. At some point, whenever it is, Mr. Fung and Ms. Mazzola come out with a variety of items, including the brown paper bags and the large black boxes. At some point, in whatever sequence it is, Andrea Mazzola comes out carrying a trash bag, and Mr. Fung is accompanying her. But the issue is sequence, and there is no way that we can tell from these 4 tapes what the sequence is. We would ask the court to require the defense to lay the same kind of foundation that the people have been previously required to lay. When the issue is timing, when the issue is sequence, particularly whereas here the tapes are edited in 2 different fashions.
All right, thank you, counsel. Mr. Scheck?
Your Honor, I think the court has been as generous as one could be under these circumstances. The prosecution has had a considerable period to look at every tape we have. They've had Detective Van Adder back there looking at it with them. I'm sure they've discussed it with everybody they can. I think that all these issues go to weight, not admissibility. I think that we should be allowed to show everything to this witness, who was there, to try to sort through what happened when, the sequence of events. He's there. I want to show him the tapes. I want him to give us the order, if he possibly can, and explore that with him. With respect to Detective Van Adder, I asked him some questions already about whether he recalled Detective Van Adder carrying a black duffel bag and a clipboard, and when he saw him, I think that we should be allowed to show him that tape of Detective Van Adder getting out of the car, show them all the sequences, and let's try to do it through the witnesses. Let's try to get to the truth, because that's really what this is all about. Now, there's nothing more that we can do. We would like to get every tape we could, but between showing the videotapes of the events as they actually transpired, letting the witnesses see it, letting the witnesses tell us to the best of their recollection what happened when, we can try to reconstruct the truth of these events. That's all that we're proposing to do. On redirect examination, on the rest of their case, they can recall Detective Van Adder, they can recall Detective Lang, they can do whatever they want to try to straighten this out.
All right,
But-
Mr. Scheck, as to 1103, are you going to offer the portion with Van Adder's arrival at Rockingham?
Well, it had not been our intention to offer that particular segment. If they want it, they can, because what we showed the court were 2 different pieces of footage of Van Adder arriving that are more complete.
All right, so let me be clear on what it is you intend on offering, what you're proposing to offer. On 1101, it's merely Fung and Mazzola walking to the truck, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Without Van Adder's portion in there.
Could I just see, they have the tapes, could I just see the tapes? Because I have my notations on them. I even gave them my work product. Show are the 2 more complete shots of Van Adder. We're not going to show it on 1101, but on 1102, and what number is this one? 1103, we would show the witnesses the 2 shots of Van Adder arriving, one where you can't see what's in his hands, and the other one where you can, just for purposes of completeness so that everybody gets to see everything.
All right, and how about 1102?
1102,
This is Fung and Mazzola coming out to the truck.
right. What our proposal with 1102 was,
Different angle.
yeah, this is the tape that has the complete shot, as in my recollection, of Fung and Mazzola going back into Rockingham. So we were going to show that entire sequence, and we were going to show Detective Van Adder arriving but this is the shot where you can't see the bag. On 1103, we were going to re-show the shot where you can see the bag as he's getting out of the car and what's in his hands. So
All
that's
right.
how we were going to deal with it in terms of those tapes.
How about 1104?
1104, I think, 1104, I think is the, we're going to show the section of Fung and Mazzola leaving Rockingham. This time, Mr. Fung has no bags in his hands, and Miss Mazzola has the trash bag. The value of this shot is that we see them starting at the front door and coming down the driveway. And that was the part we were going to offer from 11.
All right, 1104 also has that gathering out front with Lang, excuse me, with, yes, Detective Lang, Detective Van Adder. Are you offering that portion?
Yeah, it wasn't our intention to,
Standing there with the tennis shoes?
yeah, that's after a cut. We weren't intending to offer
So
that.
it's only Fung and Mazzola leaving?
Only Fung and Mazzola leaving.
From a different perspective?
Right, from a different perspective, and then the last tape, I believe. All right. There's another view, though, on, clear, Your Honor. On 1103, we're going to show the sequence where Fung and Mazzola are walking out of the driveway. Mr. Fung doesn't have anything in his hands, except maybe a pen or something. And Miss Mazzola has that trash bag. But this time, you get to see them walking further down the sidewalk towards their van.
All right. Thank you. Any other comment, Mr. Goldberg?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, it has become absolutely apparent from what counsel says that the sequence is exactly what he does want to use these tapes to do. And how can
Well,
you...
let me ask you this. First of all, do you have an objection? What is your objection to the tape segments that depict only Mr. Fung and Miss Mazzola and their travels in and out of Rockingham on the 13th?
The objection, Your Honor, is that it is immaterial in the sense that in and of itself, if all you have is a picture of them coming out and you are not making any suggestion to this jury whatsoever as to what order it came in, then it is immaterial. The only materiality of it and the only argument that counsel has made is that he wants to resolve order, the sequence. And how on earth can that be done with a tape that has been cut, where we have another tape that presents it an entirely different sequence? The only issue that counsel is offering this tape on, Your Honor, is something that we cannot resolve from the
What is your
tape.
specific objection?
That is my
right.
specific objection, that it's not material, that it should be precluded under 352, and that there must be a foundation. If the court, if we were trying to offer a piece of evidence on the issue of sequencing and timing, and we did try to do this, and we did do this, we had to call the cameramen. The cameramen can testify, perhaps, the sequence that these events occurred in. Mr. Fung cannot, from the videotapes. And if what they are trying to do simply is to resolve the issue of sequence, you can do that by questioning the witness. You don't need the videotapes. The videotapes do not shed any light, do not do anything except confuse and mislead the jury and the witness. And it is not legally permissible to do that under 352, under relevance, under foundation. You know, Mr. Scheck argues, well, you know, when he's addressing the court legally, I want to do it. I want to do it is not an exception or is not a provision in the evidence code.
So you're saying that because of the cuts, you can't tell which sequence occurs first, the coming out with the trash bag and coming out with the catalog cases.
You can't tell which occurs first. These tapes in no way shed any light on that issue and will confuse that issue. That is our objection.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Scheck?
Well, you can tell. And we'll find out when we question the witness. He was there, and he can tell us. But you can tell which is first and which is second, we contend. And we're going to prove it. And we have a right to prove it.
All right. How about the foundation, since there's a cut?
Well, no, I think that when you say the cut, which cut are you referring to, Your Honor?
Well, you have Fung and Mazzola going to the truck, placing items in the truck, and then turning around and walking back down the parkway. There's a cut,
Yes.
all right? Then you have them coming out again from the Rockingham address, Fung without anything and Mazzola with a plastic bag.
Right.
Which came first?
That's the issue. Maybe the witness can help us. It's up to the witness. How else are we going to find it out? They've been speaking to Detective Van Adder. They've been speaking
Gentlemen.
to everybody else.
Mr. Neufeld, do you want to be heard on this?
Definitely not.
We think we can do it through the witness, and we think that that's the whole point. We're not hiding anything here. We're showing them everything. One can reconstruct the camera angles from the two different cameras as best one can. They can talk to the witnesses. They can put on any other witness after this is over to try to reconstruct events. Basically, is what we're not using any misleading cuts. We're giving. They've had every opportunity to look at it. We're giving every camera angle of the that we have available, that anyone has available, to our knowledge.
All right,
of
Mr.
these
Goldberg,
events.
has this video been displayed to Mr. Fung?
No.
If it would assist you, I would ask once again that we approach very briefly, and I can make an ex parte application, and I think you'll be satisfied.
No?
I think we do have a right to do that.
I don't need you to do that at this point, Mr. Scheck. The largest question I have is foundation. Because if you're going to exhibit this to the jury, then there's got to be some authentication as to what came first, since obviously the sequence of these items is important to you.
Well, I think that maybe Mr. Fung can tell us.
All right? Then I propose we do that out of the presence of the jury first, and see if he can lay a foundation for it. Otherwise, you can bring in the cameraman.
I give up. I really don't think that I should have to reveal this now. I really think that's wrong. But
I'm not asking you to do it. I'm saying if you want to lay the foundation with Fung or the cameraman out of the presence of the jury, you're welcome to do
Okay.
so.
Okay.
That's your option.
one second, Ralph. Your Honor, my apologies to the court. I think that the course you suggest is a wise one.
Thank you.
And
What is your choice?
the choice is that we lay
Mr.
the...
Fung out of the presence?
Yes.
Let's have Mr. Fung. All right, good morning again. Mr. Fung, would you take the witness stand again, please? All right, Mr. Fung, you're reminded you're still under oath, sir. We're going to show you a few videotapes. Mr. Scheck, Mr. Harris.
make one request. I think the witness should probably only be shown the tapes as to the specific sequences, the three sequences we've discussed, and not in any particular order, so that he's
No,
not misled.
this is Mr. Scheck's offer on foundation. He can do it however he sees fit.
Fung, I'd like to show you a segment from the videotape. Let me just make sure the segment is queued up correctly. This is a segment from 101.
All right, 101.
All right, stop a second, please. And Mr. Fung, I'd like you to note carefully the cars that you see as as this tape proceeds, okay?
Cars?
The cars that are parked on the sidewalk, all right? So first you saw a police car there, a black and white?
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed. All right, let's stop. You see this second van there?
The one where the gentleman's
Yes.
coming out of? Yes.
Okay, let's proceed. Let's stop. You see this brown car there?
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed. See that van there?
Yes.
That's not the white Ford Bronco, is it?
No, it is not.
Okay. All right, let's stop for a second. Now, from the car, you do not, in walking down that path, you did not see Mr. Simpson's white Ford Bronco, did you?
No.
All right. Let's proceed. Now listen carefully to the sound here, sir. Okay. Now, let's get rid of that last part. Did you hear yourself saying, okay, let's go back, make one last check? Or words to that effect?
Something like that, yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you another videotape that depicts these events that I think is more complete. So I'd like you to take a look at that. 11:02. Okay. Oh. Stop. Now, you see, again, that black and white police car?
Yes.
And you see there's a space in front of it?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. Another car, same car as before? Concentrate, if you can, sir, on, that's you with paper bags in your, I guess it's your left hand?
Yes.
And that's, what's that in your right hand?
It was a, looked like a box.
The evidence kit? Now, you recognize this to be, up through this point, the same clip as we saw before.
Yes.
Okay. Now you see that walking back. Okay. Now, okay, why don't we actually continue with that tape at this point? Just back it up a second. Back it up to the very beginning of this. All right. Now, after this, you'll see that there's a cut in the tape.
Well, at this point, I would check to ask any questions about this, since there's no foundation anywhere there.
Overruled at this point. You can show him the tape.
Yes. Take note of that car, sir. You see it?
The gray car.
Stop right here for a second. See that car?
This gray car here.
That gray car?
Yes.
Okay. Let's continue. All right. Okay. Call your attention to a second. Would you agree, sir, that that gray car that we just observed was not parked in that location in the first segment that we just reviewed of you and Miss Mazzola going to the truck and then walking back in?
There was a police car and then a van in the first segment.
Right, there
The
was a
gray car
police
was not
car,
present.
a space, do you recall that?
Yes.
And then, but that gray car was not in that first segment, right?
The first segment that you showed me, yes.
Okay. Now I'd like to show you another view of, was 11:03, Your Honor.
I still object to showing this witness pictures of any Adder without any foundation inside.
Overruled.
Okay. Now, let's stop for a second. Stop. Now, in that sequence, if you like, if you want, we can rewind it. You see Detective Van Adder, all right, getting out of that gray car, correct?
Yes.
And in his hands, he has a black duffel bag in one hand and what appears to be a clipboard in the other.
And maybe some other objects also, yes.
Yes. And you see that as we go through the shot, please pay attention to the black and white car. See that there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, now, would you agree, sir, that that gray car that Detective Van Adder got out of is parked in front of that black and white police car?
Yes.
All right. And that is not, that gray car was not present in the first sequence I showed you of you and Miss Mazzola walking towards the van.
That's correct.
Okay. And then coming back and going back inside of Rockingham, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, sir, I'd like to show you another tape sequence. From 11:04.
Three.
I'd like to show you this sequence. All right? Yes. Now, this sequence is you and Miss Mazzola leaving. Stop right here. Do you recognize who that gentleman is in the Panama hat?
That is Mr. Wilson. He's a photographer.
Photographer. Okay, and this is you and Miss Mazzola now leaving the Rockingham location again?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yes, continue here. Continue here, I'm sorry. All right, stop.
All right, Mr. Harrison.
Reverse.
All the way back, please.
To the entry, Mr. Harrison. Thank you.
Okay. I know. Hey, that goes, okay. Get rid of that shot. Now, you focused on yourself and Miss Mazzola leaving, and then there's, she has a trash bag in her hand, correct?
Today is to which tape, Your Honor? The first-
This cut right here.
Overall.
She's got a bag, a plastic bag, yes.
Okay,
A large plastic bag.
all right. Now, I'd like to show you,
Your Honor, I make a much constructive answer because it's still not clear as to which of the two cuts in that tape.
Overruled.
Tape number 1104.
Overruled.
I'm going to show you another sequence in this, and it's 1103, Your Honor. Sequence. Just go back a little bit. Yeah. Okay, let's run it. Now you see, okay, stop for a second. Now that's you and Miss Mazzola again leaving Rockingham.
Yes?
And that's, I think you told us, Mr. Wilson behind you.
Yes.
Okay. Stop. You see the black and white car?
Yes.
Let's move forward. Stop. You see the gray car?
Yes, I do.
All right. Now that would be Detective Van Adder's car that you saw in the previous shot?
I don't know if it's his car, but that was the one he was
Getting
getting
out
out
of.
of.
All right, let's proceed. Okay. Now, looking at those videotapes, testified that you, at some point in the afternoon on June 13th, left Rockingham, correct?
Yes.
Now, the segments that we saw depicting you and Miss Mazzola leaving Rockingham, all right, you recall the ones where you're carrying the black box and the paper bags in your left hand,
Yes.
and you then put them in the truck,
Yes.
all right, and then you say to her, let's go back for a last check,
Yes.
all right, and then we see you go back in, correct?
Yes.
And then we have a second set of shots that you saw, 2 clips, of you leaving Rockingham again, correct?
Yes.
All right. And this time, Miss Mazzola has that plastic bag in her hand,
Yes.
and you're not carrying any bags in your hand.
That's correct.
All right. And then you walk past towards your truck again.
Right.
All right. Now, in terms of sequence, sir, the first time that you walked out carrying the bags in your hand, all right, that was, that happened before the second time, didn't it?
It appears so, yes.
That just calls for speculation, this witness's interpretation of the videotape, which
Oh,
is no
well.
better than anyone else's.
Now, Your Honor, I think that that lays the foundation, and we'd like to show it to the jury.
Well, no, I think Mr. Goldberg's entitled a little cross-examination or redirect as to, actually cross-examination as to this issue of
All right,
foundation.
well, then, maybe I'll... I have more questions I'd like to ask right now.
All
And in that second tape, you saw the gray car had pulled up, correct? You saw the gray car that you saw Detective Van Adder get out of. The second, there were two tapes you saw of you leaving Rockingham. You've now told us a second time, correct?
Could you repeat that one?
Sure. Remember the tapes where you and Miss Mazzola are walking down the driveway and Mr. Wilson is behind you?
Yes.
All right. Now that is that happened second, correct?
That's the second tape you showed me.
Yes. That's the second time that's in terms of leaving Rockingham, okay? I think you just told us that that happened after the first trip, correct?
That appears to be the second time.
Yes. Now, do you recall how much time passed between the first and second trip?
No, I do not.
What's in the plastic bag?
To the best of my recollection, the envelope containing the blood vial is in there.
Is in the plastic bag that Miss Mazzola is carrying?
Yes.
We bring the jury.
Mr. Goldberg, you have any questions?
For the witness to ask him some questions about that, the segments, two segments of counsel.
Would we be with the jury at this point?
I'm contemplating going till 6 tonight.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm contemplating going until 6 tonight.
Well, I guess my question is, how long will I have to explore this line with the witness, given that it's 5 to 12?
Well, no, Mr. Goldberg just asked permission of the court to ask some questions of Mr. Fung, and has
Oh,
asked
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Harris to queue up 11:04 because he'd like to view that again. So I suspect we're going to break for lunch. We're going to come back at 1:30, but I think we're going to go until 6 today. Let's see 11:04.
Can we see that one more time, the clip?
Mr.
that we
Harris,
just
can we
went-
see it from the doorway, please?
Mr. Fung, can you look very carefully in Ms. Mazzola's hands to see whether you can see an object in her hands, or carrying an object? Maybe we can back up and take another look at that. Now let's back up again. Sorry, Your Honor, can we see that at another time? Sure. From the door?
Sure. Who's got control, Mr. Fairtlow? Sorry, Mr. Harris.
There.
Can we back up and then please on the frame that shows that she has her hands?
Sure. Right there. Right there.
Mr. Fung, do you have an independent recollection of what the item is in Ms. Mazzola's hands? When I say independent, I'm talking about not from viewing this tape, but from what you remember on
No,
the
I do
13th.
not.
Okay. Do you have any independent recollection as to whether this footage, maybe we can continue on to the next. Is this, the footage that we just saw, the first part of the footage on 1104, a continuous series of events with the footage that you saw in the second half of 1104, to your independent recollection?
No, I can't say that it is continuous.
You don't know from your independent recollection?
I don't know.
Were you present when Mr. Van Adder arrived in his car, gray car?
I don't recall him arriving at the Rockingham scene, no.
You did not see that?
No.
In the afternoon, where was the first time that you saw Detective Van Adder?
I was inside the Rockingham residence.
Do you have any independent, do you have any ability other than what you saw in the videotape to determine whether or not the gray car came and left before you walked out to the van with the brown paper bags or after?
This is the first time I noticed the gray car.
But what I'm saying to you is do you have any capacity to testify from your independent recollection and your own observations on the 13th, which of those two items happened first?
No.
Based upon your own independent recollections, then, can you tell us the sequence, not from what you saw in the videotape, but based upon your recollections and your observations on the 13th, can you tell us the sequence of the following three events? Detective Van Adder arriving, Andrea Mazzola, and yourself leaving with Andrea Mazzola carrying an item that appears to be a trash bag, and you arriving with Andrea Mazzola at the crime scene truck with a number of brown paper bags.
I couldn't put those in order, no, through independent recollection.
Is there anything about viewing the videotape that refreshes your recollection or allows you to put into sequence these events?
Not really, no.
Mr. Scheck? Do you have any further questions for
Just
Mr.
one.
Fung? I'm sorry, Mr. Goldberg, were you finished?
Yes. Mr. Fung, do you have an independent recollection of how many times in the afternoon you went out to the crime scene truck with brown paper bags?
No, I do not recollect how many times.
Did you notice, in terms of those two sequences of you leaving Rockingham, okay? In the first sequence, you go back with Miss Mazzola and you pick up some evidence cards from the ground, right?
Yes,
And when you came at the second time, those evidence cards were not on the ground.
I didn't notice.
You want to look? this segment, you and Ms. Mazzola coming out the driveway. Go ahead. Go ahead. Stop. Now, you don't see those evidence cards on the ground the second time, right?
No.
Okay, let's move forward. Okay, stop. So, wouldn't you agree, Mr. Fung, that that's the second, that sequence of you leaving the is happened after the first sequence, when you went to the truck, deposited the valise in the bags, then walked back in and picked up the evidence cards?
Well, Your Honor, it's vague as to which sequence he's talking about.
Do you understand what I asked you?
We have the paper bag trip, and we have the plastic bag trip.
All right. This plastic bag trip happened second, didn't it?
It appears to be yes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll stand in recess 1:30.
Your Honor, are we going to be able to do this when we come back?
Over the lunch hour, I want you to leave the tapes here. I'm going to look at them one more time.
Okay. And, Your Honor, could we have an admonition?
Yes. Mr. Fung, don't discuss the matter with any of the attorneys, please.
Your Honor,
Started.
for Mr. Scheck's information, Mr. Neufeld's, Ms. Mazzola is upstairs, but she is not feeling well. She is under a doctor's care, and we intend to send her home at this point.
I don't think we're going to finish today. All right. But, counsel, we're going to go till 6. Make preparations to go to 6 today. All right, we're in recess. Tapes this afternoon, which is what delayed our getting started. This afternoon, I was reviewing tapes again in my chambers. And in reviewing the KTLA tape, Stan Chambers' report from June the 13th, 1994, in hitting the pause button to stop it at the time that the parties were coming out of the door at Rockingham, I hit the record button instead. And I erased inadvertently 5 seconds of that videotape. So I would like counsel to look at the videotape to see if they think that those seconds are critical. I've had my staff contact KTLA, see if they can provide us with another duplicate copy of that news broadcast. They indicated they're looking for it, that it should be available, and I'll have 2 of my staff members go get it as soon as they confirm that it's available. But Mr. Scheck, if you want to look at it to see if that footage is sufficient for your uses. Noting that the pause and the record button are next to each other on this remote control. I'll mark it as a court's exhibit. I must say I'm thoroughly embarrassed by this.
Oh, well, I know I would do it. I'm that kind of klutz, and we know you're not Rosemary Woods, so I think we can certainly proceed with what we've got.
All right, you've reviewed it?
Yeah, I think that, did Mr. Goldberg take a look? Do you want to take a look?
I'm sorry? No, I haven't ruled yet. I'm just saying, is this sufficient for your uses here? All right, Mr. Harris, you want to run it with the court's deletion?
The reason I think it's sufficient is that we have that other tape that picks up with them walking down the driveway, and this one shows them coming out of the house. And I'm, for our purposes, I'm sure that's fine.
All right, I've just been advised that by the news director of KTLA that they have located the tape. They've dubbed a copy, and I'm sending my staff to go get it in case we need a complete copy.
Well, okay, I think that actually, since I'm going to begin with another matter that I estimate will take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but I'm assuming that before we get to this line, and before we hit the videotapes, it may just be perfect timing.
All right. Court's ruling then as to the videotapes is as follows. I will allow the playing of the videotapes that depict Mr. Fung and Miss Mazzola on both trips, both the paper bag trip and the plastic bag trip. Court finds a sufficient foundation has been laid for those. Court sustains the objection to the Van Adder arrival segment on the basis of lack of foundation at this time. So the court will...
We just got a lunch.
You just got a...
We just got additional information on lunch, as did the people, Your Honor.
You want to
from
share
the,
that? Mr. Neufeld, does Mr. Scheck want to handle this, or do you want to handle it?
Well, can I defer to him just...
Only because I spoke to the reporter myself. It's up to you, if I may, just to save time. We were approached, as was the prosecution, by a gentleman named John North, who was a reporter from KABC.
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor.
Mr. Fung, why don't you wait outside?
You said he spoke to the prosecution during the luncheon break. He spoke to him?
All right, Mr. Fung's withdrawn. Mr. Neufeld.
Yeah, and Mr. North presented me with a computer printout. He said that they went back and they checked their original cassette that was shot by their camera person that day, that afternoon. And it even has a time, it's time-coded. And it was time-coded, and the time code, he said, was set by the camera operator. And it shows the time that each of these incidents occurred, and it also shows the sequence in which they occurred. And it completely corroborates the sequence that we wanted to show to the witness, namely that first he's coming out carrying the paper bags, then Van Adder arrives, then they go back in, then Van Adder arrives, and then they come out the second time, and Fung has nothing in his hands, and Mazzola's carrying the plastic bag. He gave me this printout. He said they intend to air it on the television this evening, in fact.
Okay.
Clearly, if we had that person, that would provide any additional foundation.
Yes, it would.
Well,
He probably is. Or on the 12th floor by now. All right, but see, the problem is we have the jury waiting, so let's proceed with what we have. You can lay the foundation. If you want to do that out of the presence of the jury, we'll do that.
Given the court's ruling on the other two videotapes, we'll draw our objection on the Van Adder tapes.
All right, that settles that question. Proceed. Let's have the jury. All right, let the record reflect we've been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me apologize to you for the delay in getting started this court day. I started the day with some special discussions with the lawyers. I think as we recessed yesterday, you were aware that I had to make some determinations out of your presence as to some of the videotapes that would be presented to you. And we spent some of the time this morning allowing the parties to view these videotapes, to confer amongst themselves, and to make their arguments for and against the admission of these videotapes. Over the lunch hour, I took the decision under submission so I could have the opportunity to look at these videotapes myself one more time. And as I mentioned to you, there's something called Murphy's Law. During the course of looking at those videotapes and attempting to put one into a still frame, I hit the record button, and I inadvertently erased part of one of the tapes as I was trying to slow-mo it. I see you're laughing. I'm sure it's happened to you, too. Normally, what you do is you knock out that little tab in the back so you can't record over it. I didn't do that, and I'll never do that again, believe me. But that was part of, that's why we're late getting started this afternoon. I apologize to you sincerely. I want you to know that when we're in a jury trial, the thing that bothers me the most is knowing that you're back there and you're waiting. And that's why when I knew we were going to have a long delay this morning, I had you taken back up to the larger lounge because I know it's more comfortable for you to be up there. And I sincerely apologize to you. I take full responsibility myself personally for this delay today. I want you to know that it's not the fault of the parties. And hopefully we'll be able to get through a full court session. I indicated to the lawyers that I wanted to go through till 6 o'clock today to make up for some of the lost time today. We will take breaks through the afternoon, however, but I'd like to get in at least 4 good hours today with the jury. But we've been at it since 9 o'clock this morning. All right, thanks, folks. Mr. Fung, would you resume the witness stand? All right, good afternoon again, Mr. Fung.
Good afternoon.
You're reminded, sir, you are still under oath. The records reflect Mr. Fung is on the witness stand undergoing cross-examination by Mr. Scheck. Mr. Scheck, you may conclude with your cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Oh, good afternoon, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Fung.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
Okay.
Mr. Fung, I'd like to begin by showing you what the coin envelope that contains item number 10. You recall the blue plastic that you saw at Rockingham?
Yes.
While Ms. Robertson is retrieving that,
It's over here on the Mrs. Robertson's bench. Which court exhibit is this, Mr. Scheck?
this is court exhibit,
Exhibit 164,
164, item 10.
and Your Honor, I'd like to mark this photograph defendant's next in order.
1105? All right, defense 1105.
May I approach the witness?
You
Your
may.
Honor? Oh, actually, first. Now, looking at the monitor, Mr. Fung, that is item number 10, as you saw it on the morning of June 13th.
The blue object to the top of the picture, yes.
And I believe you told us, sir, that Detective Furman retrieved that object.
Yes.
And you could not recall whether or not he used the glove method or the scoop method to collect item number 10?
I don't recall which he used.
I would ask you, sir, to, with the court's permission, open. This is the coin envelope that contained item number 10 on June 13th, correct?
Yes.
I would ask you, sir, to open this envelope.
Knife or
at the
scissors?
top. Sorry?
Just asking Mr. Fung if he wanted a knife or
Scissors.
scissors.
You may want to use gloves, too.
Yes, and I think gloves would be appropriate.
Mrs. Robertson? Gloves. Let's try not to block jurors 1 and 7. Jury number 1, is there a problem with the monitor? Is it on now? Tom? Monitor seats 1 and 2. Is the green light on? Mr. Fairlaw? All right. All right, Mr. Fung, you may proceed. Mr. Scheck?
Mr. Fung, if you could you please open the envelope from the top over here, where you see the last seal was broken, right up over the top there. I think be a good idea.
I'm cutting along the bottom edge of the envelope.
Now, could you please take out item number 10? Could you please unfold it to its full size and hold that up? All right. Now, could you please turn it vertically at this point? Could you please hold up the coin envelope? All right. Could you put the coin envelope,
Superimpose
superimpose it? Okay. Now, Mr. Fung, wouldn't you agree, and that, now turn it rectangularly, the coin envelope, the item number 10. Now, when you saw item number 10 on June 13th, it was not folded as it is now, was it?
That's correct.
Okay. So, wouldn't you agree, sir, that without folding up item number 10, with one's hands, it would be extremely difficult to get it into that coin envelope?
No.
You think you could do that without folding item number 10? One could, the scoop method is where you take a card or a pen, right? And you put something into a bag such as that coin envelope.
Yes.
All right. Okay, and it's your recollection now, sir, that you don't remember whether or not Detective Furman was wearing gloves and took item number 10 and placed it in that coin envelope.
I don't recall which method he used.
But it could have been that he was wearing gloves, right?
Sustained.
Finish
You want
with
to, hold, well, let me just ask a question. 1492, were you able to see that? All right, thank you. Proceed.
that. All right, Your Honor, if you could just repackage that, sir.
Sure. Counsel, if you want to approach and inspect it. Scheck.
You would agree, sir, that at least that somebody would have to fold that blue object before putting it in that bag?
Asked and answered.
Sustained.
When you saw it on June 13th, as depicted in the photograph that's on the monitor, it wasn't folded, correct?
Asked and answered.
Overruled.
It was not folded.
Okay, thank you. All right. Your Honor, I'm finished with the exhibit, and
All right, if you'll take that and return it to Mrs. Robertson.
Mr. Fung, maybe you can request. Now, when we last broke yesterday, Mr. Fung, we were discussing Mr. Simpson's blood sample. You recall that?
Yes.
And I had asked you whether or not you made a slip on direct examination when you were asked which item you received first, the sneakers from Detective Lang or the blood sample of Mr. Simpson.
Yes.
And you said you did not remember making such a slip.
That's what I stated, yes.
And the sneakers were given to you on June 14th in the morning.
Yes,
No question about that.
that's correct.
And item number 19 is a hair that you removed from the Rockingham glove.
It's hairs, yes.
And that was done on the morning of June 14th.
Yes.
I'd like to show you a videotape now, sir, of your direct examination. And I,
Yes.
and I'd like you to look at the videotape and ask if this is you being asked some questions and giving some answers.
I would reduce the paperwork.
If the blood had remained item number 18, I would have had to create 3 additional property report face sheets.
Okay, now, with the pair of sneakers on the previous document that we saw was labeled item 17, is that correct?
Yes,
Which did you receive, and the blood 18?
yes.
Which did you receive first, the blood or the pair of sneakers?
I received the blood vial first.
All right.
Was that a slip, Mr. Fung, where you're accidentally revealing the truth, that you received the blood vial after you received the sneakers?
Sustained.
Mr. Fung, you told us that Detective Van Adder gave you a gray envelope containing the blood sample that was already packaged on the afternoon of June 13th.
A gray envelope that was already packaged?
Yes, when you received the blood vial blood sample on June 13th, did you not tell us that it was already packaged in a gray envelope?
The blood vial was packaged in a gray envelope.
It was already packaged when you received it from Detective Van Adder.
Overruled.
Yes.
Mr. Fung, when you testified at the grand jury on June 22nd, were you asked these questions and did you give these answers? I'm
Counsel.
starting at page 397, line 28. Tape we just played of Mr. Fung on direct has to be marked 1106.
All right, 11:06, that last tape recording. All right, Mr. Goldberg,
May I proceed?
I'm just waiting for Mr. Goldberg to confirm I'm ready. Mr. Goldberg? Have you read all right, proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Fung, on June 22nd at the grand jury, were you asked these questions and did you give these answers? Question: did you also receive a blood sample that was removed from the defendant, the possible defendant, Mr. Simpson, from Detective Philip Van Adder? Answer: yes, I did. Question: and what date was it that you received it from him? Answer: I received that blood sample on June 13th, 1994. Question: did you package it in some manner when you received it from him? Answer: yes, I did. Question: how? Answer: I placed it in a gray whole blood envelope. Were you asked those questions and did you give those answers?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Fung, are you having some trouble keeping this story straight about getting the blood sample from Detective Van Adder from
Sustained.
Rockingham?
Sustained. Counsel, that's not a proper question.
Mr. Fung, you testified on cross-examination yesterday. Under cross-examination about receiving the blood sample. You recall that?
Yes.
All right. Now, I'm at page 22457. Yes?
Do you have that?
I'm sorry? Do I have
Mr.
an extra?
Robertson? Would you have Ms. Olson give the transcript from yesterday, please? Mr. Goldberg, do you have your copy here?
Your Honor, I'll just, they can look over my shoulder while I do it, so. Pass it. Were you asked yesterday by,
right, Mr. Goldberg, that's the court's copy. All right, Mr. Goldberg, have you had the opportunity to review that?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Scheck, proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Question. I take it at some point in time you left the foyer area and returned to your crime scene truck. Answer, yes. Question. All right. And were you carrying that gray envelope? Answer. Either by itself, in a posse box, or in a paper bag. Question. So it would be one of those three ways of carrying it. Either by itself in your hand, in a paper bag, or in a posse box. Answer, yes. Were you asked those questions, and did you give those answers yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Now, this morning, did you have an opportunity to look at some videotapes?
Yes.
And you did that in this courtroom, outside the presence of the jury, with the judge and counsel present.
Yes.
I'd like to show you some of those videotapes now, sir. Let me just, before we show you the videotapes, just want to ask you a few questions. Since you last left us yesterday afternoon, have you had any conversations with the prosecution about the events of June 13th and where you say that Detective Van Adder gave you Mr. Simpson's blood sample?
This morning I discussed briefly some of the events with Mr. Goldberg.
May we approach, Your Honor?
With the court reporter, please.